What's up guys, it's BenImparts here. Welcome back to yet another episode of this Cryptid Cast series where we break down cryptids, their sightings, their possibilities, what they could or couldn't be and if they could be real or not. And today we have the Rumtifusel or Rumtifusel. I'm not sure what we're meant to pronounce it as. Rumtifusel, Rumtifusel. I prefer Rumtifusel, but Rumtifusel is easier, so I'm just going to call it the Rumtifusel. And this is one of those cryptids that might seem slow, might seem inoffensive, might seem lumbering, but it absolutely is not. It is in no way inoffensive. The Rumtifusel is absolutely a terrifying creature, which, while it may be dawdling and while it may be slow, is very scary indeed. It's one of my favourite categories of creature, the Lumberjack Cryptids. The cryptids that are so outrageous, but yet, given that we know how scary nature is, could be somewhat possible. So what is the Rumtifusel, or Rumtifusel? To be honest, I like Rumtifusel more. I can't make my mind up. Well, it's an incredible creature in the sense that its strategy is simple, but so devious. In the words of Henry H. Trion's Fearsome Critters book, which I can't recommend enough for you to read, it resorts to, quote, some form of low cunning, because it preys on people assuming that it itself is unassuming. It preys on you assuming it's nothing more than what it looks like. But don't let anything fool you. It's very large and very ferocious. It has a pelt described as, quote, fine, long and thick, with a rich colour like a mink, and a body that's, quote, oddly flattened. And it's said to be, quote, somewhat the way old Hank McGuinness looked after he'd rolled off the porch roof following the annual fireman's dinner, and sort of spread himself out so flat we just slid him edgeways between a couple of shed doors for a coffin. In other words, it looks rough, like someone who's had a long night drinking or someone who's unkempt. And this isn't precisely its strength. You might think, well, it's its weakness. People would run a mile. No. What it does is it drapes itself over a stump or around the bottom of a tree near a road, so it looks exactly like a fur coat or robe that someone's dropped. It, looks a little bit unkempt and it looks a little bit unshoddy, but it does not necessarily mean it doesn't look beautiful. And naturally, you're walking along the road, do-do-do. Well, maybe some of you. Some of us who know what the wood's like would wait. But let's say you're naturally walking along the road, you're feeling very happy, you're going about your business, and you see what looks exactly like a high-grade fur coat or robe that someone's dropped, you might naturally come over to have a closer look. And even though the Rumtifusel is slow and lumbering, it is not slow in this instance. With a lightning-fast flick of its body, it completely envelops the person like a Venus flytrap. Yes, it snaps itself over you. It has loads of tiny, sucking paws lining the inner ventral surface, exactly like a Venus flytrap, and those are promptly brought into action. And it sucks your bones clean. Yes, it sucks them clean. It says it does them in, quote, no time at all, so I'm not sure how painful it is, but what I know is that it will be painful. At least in some way, it will be painful. And this is described as being, obviously the end of you. There's no way you're going to come back from your bones being sucked clean. I'm not sure what it does with the bones. I assume it digests them because there's no record of bones ever being piled in its general area. However, there are little balls of fur that are meant to be often seen in the area close to a Rumtifusel, and they look like they're spat up by owls, and the book describes, quote, these high ginger scientists as describing them as such, but apparently you are by no means supposed to be fooled by that ever, because these balls are all that's left of old clothes worn by, quote, some greenhorn who ventured too near. So the Rumtifusel is slow when it moves from tree to tree and location to location, but absolutely not slow when it comes to snapping onto you. I mean, again, it reminds me of a Venus flytrap. It can't really move, it looks cumbersome, it looks like it's no threat, but have you seen a Venus flytrap once a fly lands in it? It's gone. That's the end of you. And while it may be quick, allegedly, while it demolishes you, I would absolutely not like to go there and try. But what do you guys think? Have you ever, and I doubt this, heard of anyone who's been eaten by the Rumtifusel? Do you know anyone who's heard a story of it? Have any of your relatives from the Lumberjack era or later told stories of it? Please post those comments in the comment section below. They always start up an absolutely fascinating dialogue. And without further ado, stay tuned for episode 64.